it's family oriented. It's a movie about college, so you go back and look at some of the movies like Animal House and Revenge of the Nerds and stuff like that. And so it's the spirit of that without some of the other PG-13 or R-rated trappings of some of those movies. So it was thinking about that. And then the other thing that we talked about was that this is a prequel to the first Monsters movie. So we talked about the technology of that time being a little bit earlier, a little bit rougher. So it wasn't just taking the sounds from the monster world, which was 10 years ago, and putting it in this world. It was taking those ideas and degrading them a little bit or making them a little bit more low-tech than they were. That was another idea that we talked about a lot.
I know. You're a princess and I'm just a stable boy.
Yeah! Mom! What are you doing?
Your grubby paw was in my bed.
Were you kissing my hand?
No. And what about you with all your shedding?
I don't shed.
Really? Excuse me.
I just want to get my stuff.
So the way sound was different for an animated film than a live action film specifically is you're kind of creating the world from the ground up, and especially in a movie like Monsters University where there is no basis in reality other than the original movie. And even that, we're taking that and changing it to make it a little bit earlier. So you kind of think conceptually of creating the whole world. How does everything sound like?
Hey, we did. I'll take it from here, gentlemen. Johnny Worthington, president of Roar Omega Roar. What's your name, Big Blue?
Jimmy Sullivan. Friends call me Sully.
This guy's a Sullivan? Like the famous Sullivan? I can't believe it! That is crazy!
We did a lot of recording over at Berkeley. We went to the quad and the cafeteria there, and there was an early trip to the stadium for a football game because there's a scene of a football game there. We did not attend any frat parties, much as we tried. We weren't invited. Again, you have to be careful about not getting too much English or too much reference stuff, but there's a level of enthusiasm that you find on a college campus, which is something that they really wanted to infuse in the movie. So we did a lot of that kind of ambient recording. And then there's so many different types of monsters in this world, and sometimes they have all different types of feet and tentacles and paws and hooves and all that stuff. So we did a lot of specific recording on the Foley stage with experimenting with different materials.
Basic snarl. Show me some slobber. Drool is a tool, kids. Use it. Now here is a monster who looks like a scarer.
One of the things that we do in all the Pixar movies is we pan the dialogue a little more aggressively than we do certainly in a live action movie and probably most other movies. So because the recordings are so clean, wherever the character moves, the voice can go there. And Michael Semanek and Michael Silvers, the dialogue team, did a great job of putting it in the space as well. And that's playing perspective and reflection and stuff like that. They're very good at that. This scene that we're going to break down is called the Toxicity Challenge scene, and it's the first challenge for the fraternities where they have to face each other. And the first thing that we'll hear is the dialogue. So we have the main characters, Mike and Sully, and we have the other fraternity characters running through this field of glow urchins that sting.
Is that as fast as you can go?
Just getting started.
What the? Ah! Whoa! Ah!
Oh, ow!
That's gotta hurt! Ah!
So the next level was crowds, which is the loop group stuff that Michael Silvers recorded, and most of these characters are up above over the main characters who are running through that. So we use the overhead speakers in Atmos and sort of use the surrounds to spread those out.
Yeah! Hey!
And then the next level is Randy Newman's pass, and you can hear how dense his music is and how percussive it is, hitting things, cymbal hits when characters are being hit, and things that hit on the ground, and everybody loved Randy's score, and so we had to figure out how to work around that. Then the next pass was the sound effects, and As you can hear, one of the things that we did was we didn't put a lot of ambient material in here because it's already so dense, and Randy's music is there to provide an ambient. So we had, at one point, we had glow tone through here, but then that kind of muddied up the music. So we took that out and just left in the specific flybys, the urchins that fly by. They hit you, they sting you, and then you inflate. So there's this very quick sequence of 3 things that happen. And then the last pass is the Foley pass, where you'll hear the footsteps of the characters and the glow urchins hitting and movement and stuff like that for Art and some of the other characters. As their feet swell, the nature of their footsteps change. There's a funny scene where Mike has one inflated foot and one regular foot, and you hear kind of a slap and a donk and a slap and a donk, and so they did a great job on that. Then let's play the whole thing together, and you'll see how the scene that's this dense, it's a very tough mix job to kind of get it all work. It's very easy for it to get messy, and hopefully we made it all kind of sing together. This was only the second film that had been pre-mixed in Dolby Atmos. Gary Summers and I sat down and thought about, well, what are the scenes where we can take advantage of this the most? And this being one of the scenes, the toxicity challenge, because it creates this space and there's a lot of movement and things flying around behind you. There's another scene where the screen canister flies around. So we try to take advantage of that as much as possible. Well, one of the things that you can do is open up the dialogue a little bit more by moving things off, by bringing the music off the screen a little bit, by moving things out a little bit. And sometimes, especially in scenes like this or some of the other with a lot of characters and a lot of music and stuff like that, it gets very dense, and if everything's on the screen, it piles up very quickly, and you always want to make sure you can hear the dialogue and that that's clear. So by pulling other elements off the screen, it cleans up the dialogue on the screen.
Hey! I'm Art, New Age philosophy major. Excited to live with you and laugh with you and cry with you. Thought you might like to keep a dream journal.
I think we've gotten much smarter, I mean, in terms of growth, and you can see it in what Pixar's done too, with their getting more visually sophisticated, and we've gotten smarter. It's like a marriage where you sort of work together and you're growing at the same time, and when they get better at something, we have to get better to match that. So it's a special place, the way that they've encouraged us to do our sound work. Monsters you never